our final game that we've been playing, that we played a hell of a lot of last night. Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is out. Free to play. This is the Overwatch clone by NetEase Games, in which instead of playing a bunch of original characters, you're playing as a bunch of Marvel heroes. Iron Man, Spider-Man, Venom, a bunch of like lower, lesser known characters like Magic and Luna Snow and a bunch of things like that. A lot of characters, all of them available to play right away. We played, God, how long did we play last night? Fucking 5 hours?
We got on.
Like that,
yeah, because 11 was around the time I got on.
You got on, yeah.
You guys probably played for
me and Phil were going for probably about an hour before you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
That was the thing I was thinking of last night. Whenever we don't play games all together that much because our schedules and whatnot.
Yeah.
But whenever we do, it's never for like an hour or two. It's always like 3 hours.
Oh, me and Phil do, but you
take advantage of the time when you got it, you know?
Yeah, when you got it, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was, I was texting my girlfriend this morning, or earlier today, I should say, because I woke up late, and so she was like, "Oh, how's your morning going?" And I was like, "Well, it just started." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "Well, we were up until almost 4." And she goes, "Jesus." I go, "Well, likely the three of us are not going to have an extended amount of time to play this game again, all three of us together. Like, maybe we'll have an hour or two later on down the line, but like to have like none of us have to be anywhere in the morning. Let's game out tonight and play as much as we can. Like, that may not happen for Marvel Rivals again. I think we had a moment
a couple days ago. Right before I had to go to work, me and Tavin played for like an hour.
Yeah. And then also, like, me and Phil hop in and out of different multiplayer games together. Like, we played a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 together. We played a good, an okay amount of Borderlands 2 earlier this year.
Concord,
yeah, we did some Concord stuff. Yeah, Helldivers, all that. So, it happens. Anyways, Marvel Rivals. I think we're all generally probably on the same page with this one.
I think. Do we want to just ball out and do a TwoPennyGames review?
Review impressions, review so far type thing. Yeah,
there's an interesting conversation to have about this game of what's coming down the line.
Yeah.
So as far as reviews, especially because it's an ongoing game.
Yeah.
And we only played it. I only played it in one session.
Yeah.
Which I would like at least 2 if we're trying to have like some kind of guideline.
Yeah. Me and Phil have picked up and played 2 or 3 times now. Last night, of course, was our longest play session that we had. I'll start it off. I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I want to play more of it. Because it's directly aping Overwatch, you can't help but compare it to Overwatch. I mean, some characters literally play just like Overwatch counterparts. And so you just end up going, oh, it's Black Widow is Widowmaker. And you go, oh, okay, all right, cool, whatever, a sniper character, cool. The Hulk
Hawkeye is Hanzo.
Hawkeye is Hanzo. Hulk is Diva, which is a weird choice, but I like it. I think in terms of quality of game, I think Overwatch is a better constructed game, or at least it was when I was playing it. I played it before the whole Overwatch 2 stuff started happening, so I can't speak to that. But prime Overwatch, 2016, 17, 18, stuff like that, I think Overwatch is a better made game, but I think this one still has a good quality to it. It's fun to play. And if you're looking to get away from Overwatch, if you're burnt out on Overwatch, if you want to do something else, I think this is a good substitute for that.
At this point, replacement.
I might say that as well, but I don't know if this game necessarily has the legs that Overwatch has.
We'll see.
Or has
Time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see with that. I like the variety of characters. There's 33, I think I read online. There's a lot of characters.
And there's going to be more.
Yeah. I like how many there are. There seems to be too many in the DPS damage. What do they call it?
Duelist. They call
duelist.
it duelist.
Too much in the
duelist. Vanguard, strategist.
Vanguard is your tank character, and then strategist is your healers.
Yeah.
There's too many duelists. There's way too many duelists.
Oh yeah.
Which is fine. They all play pretty differently and so forth. I like most of them fall into one of 2 categories. One being melee and one being ranged. I'm gravitating more
like you said.
What'd you say?
There are 33 total, like you said.
33 total. I'm gravitating more to the ranged characters personally. I like them a lot. I like how varied they all feel from each other. They all feel kind of how you feel like they kind of should. maybe to like a store brand quality level of like things like an Insomniac Spider-Man or I said it to the guys last night. This game plays better than Marvel's Avengers, but not by much. And some of these characters are so wildly different to the point to where their button inputs are entirely different. To the point of like sometimes they feel like they're from different games, which I don't love. But
there's like you kind of mentioned it before. They don't have a very good like Overwatch as a game between all the characters that had a very good like unified control scheme kind of. That is nowhere to be found here. Every character feels like you're playing a different game.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the strengths of this game and why I think it has more legs.
I think it's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword.
I think so far there's so many characters that they play so differently that you're bound to find characters that you like more. Like, for example, in Overwatch.
And you're bound to find a series of characters that you like.
Series.
So if your main gets taken, you can play somebody else.
Which, in many games, I'll talk more about what is going to come down the pipeline with this game, but very often in Overwatch, I would hate playing healers, to the point where I didn't play them at all, because they never felt satisfying to me. They were never really all that fun to play. If you didn't like playing the role of healer, you wouldn't like those characters. But in this one, they seem like they stand on their own a lot more, both in combat while also still being able to provide good heals. And, for a game to be able to make healers that fun, a game like this, I think that's a high achievement. And it's led to the fact that there's so much variety in how they feel.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to get something new and fresh, which is why it's good with not being like Overwatch in that regard, because everyone kind of expects what Overwatch is if it plays the exact same kind of way. So having it have a lot more crazy stuff going on screen and having your character do a lot more crazy things makes it more dynamic, in my opinion.
I see that point, and I do relate to that. That helps in the double-digit hours, I think. When you start, like, you've played the game for a while, so then you start bouncing around and you understand characters and mechanics a little bit better. Early game, first few hours, it's very jarring.
Overload, yeah.
Yeah, you feel like there's no good way to get a solid understanding of game mechanics until you've like tasted everything. Overwatch, you can kind of play and jump in. I was going to say, for example,
sorry. I really hate that I cut you off there. I was going to say, just for example, you have like a relatively simple character like Black Widow, which is, your regular sniper character. You have like a melee weapon that you can use, and that's fine, but it's mostly just a sniper rifle that you're shooting people from afar with. And then you'll jump to a character like Spider-Man, right? Where you can swing all around the level. You have all these other different cooldowns you have to manage. You have all these webs you can shoot at people. You have a grapple that you can pull someone in. It's just a lot. Like the dichotomy between those two things is very jarring.
Yes, and to button configuration and like how the controls work, most of your abilities and attacks are on triggers and bumpers for the most part. But you'll have characters with a large variety of moves matched with characters who have a small variety of moves. To take Phil's example, Black Widow has two abilities outside of her shooting her sniper rifle, right? She's got a kick that bounces people away, and then she's got a little grappling hook. And that's it. That's all she has. Spider-Man, web swinging, webbing up dudes, punching, knocking them up into the air. He's got something else that he also does. And sure, most of those are on bumpers and triggers, but he's a character who also has an ability tied to a face button. And he's not the only one who does that. I think Wolverine also does that. Captain America does that. It's jarring when Thor does that. It's jarring when you have a character with so many mechanics compared to a character who has a smaller amount of mechanics. And it makes them feel unwieldy and like you can't. There's no like instant. Got it. I know who this is.
Which goes to your point of double-digit hours is when you're really going to be like, okay, I respect the systems here.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of knowing what you're getting straight up and then having that for the rest of your experience. The diversity of things really helps a lot. And I think how the game is going to develop.
Yeah.
Especially with, I guess now's a good time to bring it up. I've already seen people saying, you should have roll lock. You should have insert competitive mechanic, things that facilitate competitive play more.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think the competitive playlist is available to play yet. I think
which is why it's a down the line thing.
Yeah, a down the line thing. So like, I'm curious to see what that plays like, but I think roll lock is not good for this game.
It is not, and that's the issue.
It'd be a fun mode.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. I would love to play like the competitive mode and like build a team that like will cooperate with each other and climb the ranks like that. But I don't want this to go. I don't want to see a Marvel Rivals Overwatch League. I do not want to see that kind of thing. I don't want this to go down the same path that Overwatch ended up going down.
You're going to see it at some
competitive
point.
thing like that, you know?
I think the benefit this game has is starting with so many characters. So like a meta doesn't really truly exist yet. Now, as you like, I've noticed a stark difference from playing solo or just with Phil versus playing with Connor and Phil, with the three of us. And just when you start entering lobbies that clearly other players are talking to each other as well, team comp matters a lot more. You know, we were coming across games where it's like, okay, clearly the two healers on the enemy team are talking with each other because they are dominating us because they're healing so well. But every time we try and target a healer, they immediately snap to each other.
Yeah.
So clearly those two are talking to each other and are working together, which has pros and cons to both of that. It makes matches sometimes get frustrating, but it also allows for great satisfaction of team play when your team executes on that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a little, you know, I feel like everything with this game is kind of a double-edged sword where like everything that I have a pro about, I also have a con with on that same level. But I think overall, the greatest strength of this game is the gameplay mechanics do feel good. Game feels pretty good. There's a couple of things I would want and change. There needs to be like a clamber mechanic or a bouncing, like getting over ledges thing, because some characters can fly, some characters have double jumps, some characters can climb on walls, and some characters can't do any of that.
And there was a moment where it was like it was a ledge I was trying to get up on. It was just barely out of my character's simple jump reach, and I'm just like, well, I should just be able to jump up and get there at that point. It's like minuscule, like so small. Like they didn't factor in the map. They didn't factor the map into the characters they have, which you criticized it last night. The level design, you did as well, Phil. It's not that great.
The maps are bad.
Very memorable.
Yeah,
I think the maps are bad.
As far as
I think they're confusing. I don't think the path to objective is clear. And they are all immediately forgettable.
There's only one map that I actually like. And it's the one that I was playing Rocket on for the most part, and it's the one of the Spider-Man ones where you have to capture the point that the cart is on, then you push the cart. That's the only map that I like.
Shin Neo Tokyo,
something like that.
Yeah,
Shinjuku or something like that. I don't know.
I think I know which one you're talking about. I think what would help with this is if the maps had more variety of color, or not variety of color.
Yeah.
If maps chose a specific color. If this is the green map, if this was the, like, not entirely, but like if that was the main color scheme of the map is greens, and then another one was like a wide variety of oranges and reds and yellows, and then another one was purples and blues and things like that. But instead, they all kind of have the same color scheme, and so yeah, some of them they're throwing a bunch of webs around, or some of them they're throwing a bunch of Black Panther architecture around, and some of them it's a lot of Venom symbiotes going around. But they all kind of generally look the same, and it leads me to not being able to cue into what the actual level design is, which makes it harder to know where I'm going.
I think that might be hammered out when we know the maps more, but it is a mark against the level design that you aren't immediately getting it, because there are many times I would think I'd go the quickest route to the point, but then there's some wall or something that blocks me. Sometimes based off my character's movement, and I can't get through.
In comparison, I don't think Overwatch had that problem.
No.
I think the second time you play on a map, you get it. Here, it's taking 3, 4, 5 matches for me to understand the layout of a level.
They should have a line.
So one thing that Overwatch had, especially for like those push the cart maps, was they had that line on the floor that showed you the path of the cart.
Yeah,
this game does that.
Does it really?
Yeah.
It doesn't do it to the point of the like where the objective is, though. That was the thing I noticed, is that it doesn't like Overwatch had a line that you could follow, and it would immediately lead to the point that you're trying to get to. If you're one of those people that's trying to get to the position for the other team,
it's just the track that the cart goes on.
No, not the cart. Like getting not through the moving the payload. It's getting to whatever objective you're talking about. just getting to it. So I'm talking about like capture the zone or.
Did Overwatch have that for its non-cart modes? I don't think it did.
I thought it did. Like it led you to your point. If
I
you
don't
were
remember.
Capture points, I think, were just capture points.
I don't even remember the like the arrow being on the floor for the games we were playing last night. So
you're right. I forgot Overwatch only does it for that one. I thought they did it in general
for the push. Push the cart.
I thought they did that for any game mode.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember them doing that. Maybe it got added on later.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't misremembered it then.
Yeah. Kind of to what you said, Connor. I just enjoy that it feels like every character can kind of do some damage, to different degrees, of course. But like you don't feel helpless when you're a healer, all the time. Sometimes you do, but not all the time. Yeah. You don't. The tanks serve a different purpose than damage, and damage really it. I don't know. I like the balance between the different class roles. I just think there's so much in the duelist / DPS role that like you end up with in a 6-man squad, you end up with 3 or 4 duelists, like 1 or 2 healers and tanks, like respectively.
They're gonna have to not put any more of those characters in for a bit.
We need more. Yeah, we need more in each ones, and some of them are confusing.
It's funny you say that. I did want to go ahead and on this website that I looked up how many characters are in the game currently at PCGamesN.com. They also have 6 of the leaked characters that are coming.
Oh boy.
I guess 2.
Go ahead.
Dr. Doom, Rogue.
No, neither of those.
Damn.
Okay. I think there needs to be more X-Men, so I'm going to guess Cyclops.
The closest thing you're going to get to
Professor
that, and
X?
it's a stretch, is Blade.
That'd be
really?
badass. That'd be a DPS.
Oh, that makes sense. Blade needs to be there. Yeah. Blade would be a DPS, wouldn't he? Maybe a tank?
Probably. No, Blade's definitely going to be DPS.
Another melee character.
I also feel like, Blade uses guns.
He's going to use guns. He's
both.
going to have a sword, like a machete too, but he's going to use guns mostly, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, he might have like a life steal, like if you're close, you can like bite and steal people's health or something.
For the most part, I do want to praise this part of the game. I feel like every character's right. Like, there are times where I'm like, Hulk, you wouldn't expect Hulk to be a diva type character, but as soon as they do it, you go, no, that's smart. They made the right choice here.
You damage Hulk, Bruce Banner comes out,
Yeah, Iron Man feels right. Mantis feels right. Like the characters, like I think they know what they have and they're doing it to the right ability. I think Deadpool's probably coming also.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
He's not on this list, but I can't imagine he won't, especially since like they have the Deadpool Wolverine skin in there.
Yeah.
And if you buy that bundle, there's a spray that has his half of the locket.
Oh,
like the heart locket, like Deadpool's got to be in this game at some point, right?
Speaking of
complete that locket.
Speaking of sprays and other customizable things, I think at launch the amount of skins, just progression in general with cosmetics and getting new things, I think the game is in a poor state. I think most of the alternate skins don't look good, or none of them make me go, ooh, I want that. Almost none of them make me go, ooh, I want that. The only exception to that is I have found myself kind of maining Iron Man. I really like playing as Iron Man. And there is a secret unlockable thing via code that Phil and his wife looked up and I put in to get an alternate skin for that. And it's better than the other skins they had advertised. But all these secret skins aren't on the page. I can't see them. So there's no clear path of progression. I think the battle pass right now sucks. And there's just no clear way of like, if I'm playing, how do I unlock other cosmetics? Now, it's a free-to-play game where they've given me every character up front, so I don't have to work to get any of them, which is commendable. I like that, but Overwatch did that too. And Overwatch had, like it or not, a good loot box system at launch. And so I feel like this game needs some version of that. They need some way for me to be able to unlock things, sure, at a slower pace. That frustrates me and makes me want to buy things because you guys do need money. But as of right now, it's too focused on monetary gain, and I don't think almost none of the cosmetics look like something I want. Whether it's sprays, skins, or emotes, nothing looks good.
Give me a loot box on my level up,
And I do think starting with an MCU season was a mistake. That should have been a season 3, season 4 thing. Starting off with the MCU, I don't even like how the MCU costumes look in this art design. Like, I think overall all of them look like lamer versions of the default skin. And I'm like, I don't really like this.
Needs more work.
Now, maybe that's a criticism of the MCU itself, but MCU's pretty good about putting the color back in the costumes for the most part. Maybe a little desaturated, but like characters look like how they should look in the MCU, which is a testament to how good that is. But in terms of this video game and these characters, man, like Spider-Man specifically was such a disappointment for me to just have Bagman and Tom Holland Spider-Man in there. And I think there's one more that I wasn't really impressed with. Like, man, really?
Oh, the purple and green one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so like overall, I'm very disappointed in the cosmetics. I mean, they don't even have like the rarity stuff going on, like the white, green, blue, orange, yellow, like all that stuff for rarities. They don't have any of that going on, and yeah, it's just that part of the game is very, very disappointing.
Let me. I mentioned Blade, but there's 5 other characters on this list here. We also have Ultron.
Tank.
So I imagine he'll be a tank. Yeah, most definitely.
Tank. Yeah, then, probably play a lot like Iron Man, I would assume.
Who knows?
Possibly. Yeah.
Possibly.
I could see it. And then the other 4. When you think Marvel and you hear 4, what do you think?
Fantastic.
Oh, are we getting all 4 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, and The Thing.
Yeah, Tank. I think Invisible Woman and Elastic Man, whatever the fuck his name is, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic.
I think they'd be support. I think they'd be able to make him that way. Because Mr. Fantastic, his whole thing is his real superpower is being incredibly fucking smart. So like technology to heal and whatnot, while also having a bit of a little bit of long arm action. Human Torch seems the only one that would be DPS.
I think Fantastic.
Of course, the Thing would be a Vanguard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Fantastic is a DPS character. It's going to be a lot of long punches and so forth. But I think he's also going to have a lot of like stun moves, or
like
he's going to be able to wrap around enemy combatants and freeze them up for a second, type stuff. Invisible Woman's going to be a support. Going to be. But yeah, I think that's a smart lineup. I think I don't know if I love having all 4 of the Fantastic Four as our first like thing. I think there's more.
The big thing right now is Doom, right? So like,
okay, yeah, and they're clearly playing off a lot of the MCU type stuff. Okay, yeah, all right, all of these things make sense. But there are a lot of other interesting characters that I do want to see. I want to see a Professor X, a Cyclops. I want to see.
I just want to see more X-Men. Yeah,
I want to see Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man would be cool in this game.
That would be cool. Yeah.
There's a huge number of characters I would love to see in here, who are currently missing. But I think they have a good balance of the must-haves and some niche characters. I like that there's characters like Squirrel Girl and Magic and Luna Snow, like guys you've never heard of before. And then balance that with the Spider-Mans and the Captain Americas and the Iron Mans and stuff like that. Wolverine. You have to have Wolverine and Hulk in your Marvel game. Like this. So yeah, as a hero shooter, I think this is pretty good. I think it's even veering on great. But there's a lot,
With time,
I think it could even, like be one of the definitive hero shooters. But is it going to last that long? I think so. It's already reported 10 million players in 3 days. It's a hit. It's working. And I think
it's a 7 that I love like an 8.
I agree. I think it's a 7 that I love like an 8. Yeah. And so yeah, I want to play more. I'm excited to play more. I don't know how much more I'm going to get out of it before they start hitting me with some major updates. I enjoy, maybe this is just because we're playing in a basic playlist right now. I enjoy sort of it's still there to kind of have a team comp, and I appreciate that, but it's not as heavy duty as Overwatch was. Overwatch was always, we got to play team meta. Yeah. We got to play the meta. That's still here. There's still balancing issues. There's certain characters who are way overpowered and other characters who are severely underpowered. That needs to happen, but that's going to happen with any multiplayer game, especially one with a roster this big. But I like that you don't need to have 2 healers.
Yeah.
You don't need to have 2 tanks or anything like that. It's like, hey, you probably should have a tank. You should probably have a healer, but it is possible to win without them. It's hard, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Especially when you start working with an enemy team that is clearly all working together as well. Yeah, you should have healers to counter their healers. I like how you did have this with Overwatch, where like, damn, their Zenyatta's really good. Damn, their Moira's really good. I like here where it's like, fuck, their healers working as a unit. It's not Jeff the Shark is really good. You did get those moments, but it did feel like their healers are better than our healers. Like their DPS is better than our DPS. I like how that felt.
Yeah.
It felt more focused on teamwork, and I think it felt more focused on teamwork by putting less emphasis on meta. Enjoyable. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep that.
I hope they keep it as long as they can.
Me too. I really truly think having the large roster of characters, because what did Overwatch launch with? 16?
16, yeah.
Yeah. Launching with 30 was a good move. Over 30 was a really, really, really good move.
Better to get them out and then work out any kinks after the fact, because up until that point, at least people have characters to play around with.
And for the most part, they all feel good to play.
Yeah, I hadn't felt one that feels bad to play, just ones I personally didn't like.
Yeah.
Maybe Venom, they need to make a little bit better. Maybe not as maybe they should make him ranged. They should make him melee more.
So, yeah, but he's only like a mid-range.
Yeah.
Which is strange. I mean, like, I get it, but like, why?
The range isn't, I don't think is the problem for Venom. I think the big problem for Venom is he needs more, he doesn't feel like Venom when you're playing as Venom. Like he needs to be more like you're holding down a character, and maybe like I want to be like biting people and eating them,
Sure, that I feel like he needs more AoE stuff. He kind of has it, but not really. He needs a move where like a bunch of symbiote spikes shoot out of him and damage anybody nearby or something like that. He kind of has something like that, but it's on a timer and you have to stay near the characters that you're with and so forth.
Sucks.
Yeah, and that move sucks. Like,
but what's cool about him is he gives that, if you're on a team with a Spider-Man or Penny, you give that ability to them. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Which that was the thing I almost forgot.
Oh, the team.
Oh yeah, the team ups.
Yeah. And that's where if they're going to do team comps, where that's going to matter and replace having to lock roles, because if you have certain characters in your team, when you press the C key for you guys, maybe it's what button do you press?
Usually it's on triangle. Sometimes it's on X, depending on what character you're playing as.
Well, you press those buttons, and the synergy that you have between two characters will cause some effect. Maybe it's passive, and you'll always have it. Maybe it's something that you have to, like I was just saying, activate itself. And it seems like the strength from team comps come less from the roles and more from the synergy. And that's kind
the
of
actual
replacing
characters
that
themselves. Yeah.
Yes, which I hope that's the route they dedicate to and advance more. Maybe even add more synergies. There's already a pretty good amount right now. But
there's a decent amount. Not every character does. It doesn't feel like not every character has synergies, right?
Everyone I saw,
most of them do,
has
but
a
I don't know.
synergy with another character.
It seems like that's the case. Yeah.
Do they? Okay.
I hadn't seen one that wasn't.
Not all of them are. Not all of them are made equally. There's some that are like way more useful than others. Iron Man shares with the Hulk and Doctor Strange, oddly enough. And that sucks. It does nothing for you. But there are things like the Thor characters, Thor and Hela, and what's the other one? Loki. Every time Hela gets a kill, the other two get a health bonus, or they get revived if they're still respawning. They get revived on the spot. That's cool. Kind of sucks that it doesn't work both ways, in some form or fashion. Kind of sucks that it's only Hela doing it.
It'd be a bit crazy if you didn't. Especially with the DPS character, like it's already given.
Yes, but it makes Hela feel like she gets the short end of the stick. Mm-hmm. And so, what if Loki and Thor are on a team but no Hela? Then they don't get. Then there is no synergy there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, what's the point?
So not make it so overpowered, I would assume. Because
I guess, yeah, but I feel like there's a way you could balance that and still give some two-way streets here. Like, I don't know if Loki heals a character, maybe Hela gets a percentage off of that. Kind of like Luna Snow's ability where she can put a little
Zenyatta orb on people.
Yeah. Well, no, she puts like a little like I don't even know what word to describe it. She puts like an armor, not an armor. She puts an aura on one character, and then she'll go and heal other characters. But the character who has the aura gets a small percentage of that health pack.
Yeah.
It's not enough to like carry you, but it's enough to like if you find yourself on the winning side of a battle, you're getting health back a little bit along the way. Or if you're like you only took a little bit of damage, it'll fill that back up just a little bit. You know, it's enough to like give it a little, oh, this is cool, like type thing. I wish that was more of those smaller things were in the synergies, just so that it felt more cooperative.
Yeah.
Because it also puts all the pressure on Hela to deliver on gameplay. Like, so if you have a Hela who is doing great DPS but isn't necessarily finishing targets off, then nobody's getting anything off of that. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. My two big favorites are Thor and Rocket. Those are my two favorites.
Which do what? Oh, it's characters
to play,
in general.
to play as. Yeah.
I got a top.
I got a top three. If I'm gonna rank them, Iron Man, Mantis, and Hela. But Mantis and Hela are kind of tied.
For me, the only two characters I'd say like, oh, these are ones I'm always going to play are three: Magic, Wolverine, and Cloak and Dagger.
You were whooping ass as Magic, dog.
Yeah, I love Magic. Yeah. You told me that would be good.
As soon as I touched Magic, I was like, this is a con.
And I had no clue what the character was. I saw her, hot lady with giant fucking badass sword. I was like, well,
she's from the New Mutants.
Yeah. I was seeing that in the lore section bit.
Yeah.
At least I was getting that from it.
She was played by Anya Taylor-Joy in the New Mutants movie from 2019.
Oh, she was in there.
2020.
I think final thing I have to say, I like the presentation of the game. I like when you're in the menus and the character portraits and they pop out of their portrait and do a little thing. The little all of their like stylish like MVP player of the game type things. I think those are actually more stylish than the Overwatch ones.
Oh, far more.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that because I was like, you said the collectibles and cosmetics aren't as good. They aren't. They need a lot of work.
Yeah.
Those are already good.
Those are good.
Yeah.
I agree. Those are good. There needs to be more of them.
Yeah.
There's only a couple per character, and not all of them are great, but the ones that are there are good. I think the best ones are the ones you start with. Again, I think defaults are all the best across the board, which kind of sucks. And again, it's a double-edged sword for me, but I do like the little intro and outro cutscenes that happen, but they do get a little repetitive and a little like, all right, I don't feel like they're connected well enough to what happened in the game. Like,
I enjoy that they're skippable.
I wish. Are there differences between the outro cutscenes if you win or lose? Because it doesn't feel like there is. It kind of just feels like a thing that happens.
I think it might depend on what side you're on.
It is. It's entirely dependent on that. Like one of them, for example,
like if you're attacking or defending.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Like the Tokyo one, something spider shit's going on. They like reconnect the web of destiny or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
The other one is like giant evil looking figure. He looks cool. Is bearing down on the person who was trying to fix the problem, showing they failed. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a thing of like, maybe it's in the setup of the match. They're not setting up the conflict of the match, the in-world conflict of the match well enough, which I think is a fault on the intro cutscene.
Yeah.
The intro cutscene should be like, all right, we gotta push this thing to save the multiverse, right? Or we have to push this, or we have to stop the Venom from taking over the world, I think that's a failure on that, because then the outro one happens, and I don't understand the context of it. So it's a well-animated thing. It looks cool and stylish, but it doesn't mean anything.
Do what Overwatch did when you were in the opening ship. You have like the voice saying like, "Here's our mission." I don't know if they did that before the game happened. I remember there was like,
I only remember characters talking to each other.
That happened, but
that's
like
all it was in Overwatch.
Before then, though, they'd give you like a mission briefing, like of what exactly.
No.
Maybe on a loading screen there was like a blurb of text or something, but
yeah, I think that's what it was.
There was never like a mission briefing, like, oh, here's your mission, you're doing this in Overwatch. You might be thinking of like the cinematics.
That's probably what I am. Yeah.
Yeah, but like in Overwatch, that's fine because it's an original IP, and it as much as like the cinematics were kind of giving the idea of a shared world, Overwatch didn't have like a fully fleshed out world, right? Like it was just kind of like a thing that was happening, right?
Bro, imagine if they actually put out the PvE shit, like
the way they said they were going to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably bad.
Probably.
I think it might have been good though.
Well, I think all the little like seasonal modes where they were doing PvE things, like the Halloween like survival mode and stuff, all those were bad. Like they were neat, but they were bad. Like they were cool shakeups of like, oh, I'll try this once, but they weren't fun, so you never did it twice. You know, I kind of feel like that was the problem. And I think that's because Overwatch never felt like a game that was built for PvE. Rivals here, I think, could do something like that. I think and be fairly successful at it.
More of a chance.
Yeah, and I think that's because of the variety of characters, but also it's rooted in Marvel comic books and MCU and all these type things. So like I feel like the intro outro cutscenes that I'm hard on are a little more necessary because there's already pre-built context for the world of Marvel. Like you should capitalize on that better.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas like Overwatch didn't have that. Overwatch didn't need that to be successful. You didn't need to watch a single Overwatch cinematic to play and understand what was going on in Overwatch. Unfortunately, because I have a prior knowledge of Marvel heroes and villains, my brain kind of goes, okay, but why is Venom working with Spider-Man? Why? Like my brain just kind of does that. Not a necessary
thing. The PS1 one, you know, come on.
What'd you
say?
They
were friends.
They were
PS1
friends.
Spider-Man, yeah.
They were little guys. Spider-Man friend or foe.
Surf the web. Surf the web.
God, what a time. Anyways, Marvel Rivals. I like it. I recommend it. It's free to play. Nothing to try it out. And it's a good game.